Well, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of course, Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. On the screen, you're going to see 2+ hours of some Division footage, one of my favorite new IPs from last generation. And of course, we have some banging topics to start your Friday. Hopefully, you've had your bacon, egg, and cheese. Me, I had a protein shake because, well, I'm trying to lose more weight, so I'm boring as all hell. And I have a protein shake for lunch. And yes, boring once again. Maybe I'll even eat some apple slices or something. We'll see. But man, we originally thought we were going to have a small panel, and it turns out that everyone is here, and we even have a special guest joining us who happened to be off today. Mav, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the program.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for inviting me to the show today, Boo. It's we're gonna have a lot of fun talking all these awesome topics. It's good to catch up with Dave and Crispy. I see Fuzzy all the time,
Yep,
but
sure
we're
do.
gonna have a blast here.
Well, listen, it's great to have you on. Definitely appreciate you stopping by. But you know what? Listen, before I get into Crispy, who's normally not here, he's usually on prime time. Two updates to community members that make a big difference in a lot of our lives. The Assassin Lupa had a successful 18-hour surgery yesterday. She is currently in ICU, and it's a little touch and go because obviously they have to watch her. That is the latest information that I have on her. Mav, I don't know if you can update anything further, but of course, I would ask that this community send as many hopes and prayers for her because she is a stellar human being. And anything you'd like to add to that, Mav?
Yeah, it's just that the next couple days are supposed to be of extreme importance.
Yes.
Originally it was supposed. She has. I don't want to go into too much detail of like what the issues are, but it's an ongoing thing, right? That she
Hmm.
lives with this, right? And she has to have tests done occasionally and procedures done occasionally to take care of her issues. Well, the procedures originally didn't go well, which has happened before, and it was very, very close to losing her, right?
Wow.
And when the procedures didn't go well, the next step was for open brain surgery,
Oh,
and
wow.
so that was an 18-hour procedure that happened, which, as we know right now, was successful. But they did say that the next 3 days, according to the surgeon, were extremely, extremely crucial. So that's where we're at right now,
Okay.
and we're hoping for the best. She's crazy strong. She's been through this before. A lot of people didn't know because she keeps a lot of this stuff secret,
Yeah,
right?
she
And she's
does.
told only people that are kind of close to her. Like a lot of us on Xbox Ultimate and Fun Speculation Group, where she's part of our podcast and stuff for a couple of years now. She's told us a lot of this stuff, but kept it kind of close to her. Very private with that stuff. It's kind of come out this recently with this extended absence and her husband giving us the okay to kind of keep people updated.
Yeah.
But we just want her back. She'll always be a huge part of this community because she's one of the best people that I have met since I started doing this. And I can't wait till she comes back. I have the highest hopes, and all the positive energy everybody is sending out. Her husband has said has been extremely humbling and very appreciative, and he's thinking it's working. So keep that
Yeah.
energy up, and hopefully we'll see her soon.
Yes, yes, real quick, and of course, again, just she's not answering her Twitter for obvious reasons,
Yeah,
but I believe her husband is listening and watching, and anything that you can say to lift their spirits would be incredibly grateful and appreciated. These things, we talk about console wars, we talk about who's got a better first party lineup, and at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters, man. What matters is people. And this is the kind of situation where I wish that lines were just blurred and people just came together as people and didn't have to, be separated by my box is better than yours. And if you can rise above the shenanigans and just drop her a line of support, it'd be greatly appreciated. Crispy, I want to bring you into the conversation because there's another member of this community that is not only has been on my show. He's been on many people's shows, and he's gone through. He's going through it right now, and of course, I'm talking about Sir X-Man, who's having open heart surgery. From what I know, that he has, I saw a picture of him wishing others well. It's unbelievable how selfless that is. But of course, he has been and is a member of this community, and he's one of the finest for sure. And he's always been someone that supports so many others. So I would love for people in this community to drop him a line on Twitter. It's at Sir Xman. But Crispy, welcome to the program, and kind of to speak about that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, two community members that, Sir X he's got one successful surgery. Apparently he's going to have another minor one.
Yep.
But it's looking good. He's awake. So shout out to you. He might be watching right now, brother. Get back soon. And Alupa, the same. Those two are just some of the funnest people to play video games with. And it breaks my heart that they're going through this, but I'm hoping to hear their voices soon on those party chats, and get some gaming with them as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's the little things, man. That's why I never entertain console war nonsense. I don't hate somebody for having an appreciation for another box that maybe I find to be secondary or tertiary. People are important, and I love that we can open up this show. I love that I have a voice in this community, that we can potentially get other people to know about a situation and maybe send their loves, their prayers. And Lupa is an amazing person. Sir X-Men, quality human beings, and any well wishes that you can send their way, believe you me, it helps more than you actually know. So thank you for that, for bearing with us as we talk about some serious topics before we get into why most people tuned in. And that, of course, is to talk about video games. And of course, talking about video games, you had such a time last night, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. Wow. But listen, you're here, and we're going to talk more video games. How the heck are you?
I'm doing great, man. Just so much awesome stuff happening in the news as far as gaming's concerned.
And it was quiet for a bit, so it's nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got some announcements on a anticipated game. We got more stuff coming up between now and the holidays, and E3, yeah,
Yes.
even E3 is coming back. So yeah, it's good news all around.
But yeah, man, we're actually going to break that down because that's a great segue to go open up the show with. As soon as we're done giving the introduction to Mr. Webb Dave, brother, thank you. Dave got here in the nick of time, folks. He had a massive power outage in his area, and I was like, oh man, I always miss hanging out with this dude. And somehow or another, the gaming gods or the electricity gods came forth and allowed for him to have his electricity back. Welcome back to the program, bro.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Got that with the generator pouring gas in. It's okay. Everything's fine. No, I'm kidding. But dude, I got to say one thing, and I am so proud to be a part of this community with all these great people on this panel
wonderful
today.
People, man.
But it's they come together and and praise and give support to everyone else, and damn it, Boom, I love this community, and thank you for letting me be a part of it with you, dude. This is awesome.
Well,
let's have a great show, guys.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you a part of this show every week. It's an honor to work with you whenever you jump in, even if you're not scheduled to be a part of the program. You're there either in the chat or you actually jump on the cast. So, but yeah, this community is amazing.
Yes,
the circles that we run in, I consider everyone to be an extended piece of our family. And I say our because Mrs. BoomStick is a big part of this community as well, even though no one's ever really seen her or really, she gets into the chat every now and again. And occasionally she'll, jump on the mic and say hello or whatever. She's a behind the scenes kind of a gamer. Eventually, though, I promise you, folks, there's going to be a time where she's going to be sitting next to me and we're going to do a cast together. Nice. Maybe for this holiday, for the big Christmas giveaway, she'll jump on for a minute so you guys can see that. Yeah, and you know what she looks like because I posted a picture of her when she got her hair dyed blue, the streak, which was awesome. But listen, let's segue right into something that has been a part of gaming for 20 plus years and seemingly was removed from the conversation this year. E3 is coming back, folks. That is great news for me personally because I'm somebody that and I believe Fuzzy, you've been to a couple of E3s yourself. It is an experience unlike anything that you can just watch on a screen. Like you literally have to go in order to see what a spectacle this thing actually is. I'll tell you this right now, you're going to do a lot of walking, and by the time you get home to wherever you're staying, you're going to be exhausted, especially if you are there not only as a fan, but you're producing content live on the scene. It's a lot of work, but it is an experience unlike anything. If you are a gamer and you really have a love for this industry, you got to somehow make it there. And for a minute this year, we thought that E3 was going to be done. Now, and granted, everyone was still kind of doing their own thing. Sony has yet to do theirs. Nintendo had a very small, hiccup of a show. So the traditional spectacle that have had, EA Play and had a Ubisoft event, which they just had, was all out the window. And now we know that the company that is responsible for PAX East, PAX Austin, and PAX West is going to be taking over responsibility duties for E3 proper, and they have confirmed that E3 2023 is a go. Now, this is exciting for me because, obviously, COVID kind of the last time I went to E3 was 2019. I was scheduled, all paid up and ready to go with the Iron Lords and a bunch of community members to go to LA again in 2020, and we obviously that was kiboshed because of the virus. I will be looking to go this year. I'm not sure if it's going to be a PAX East or E3 because the guys at Prime Time, we all want to get together and actually do a live show somewhere. And we're trying to figure out which is the better event. Is it E3 or is it PAX East? But we'll update you folks. But Mav, let's get your opinion on this. Is this a big deal? Is this a big deal for the industry that we don't have to depend on Jeff Keighley? Because quite frankly, even though I appreciate what Jeff does, this year's was certainly better, but his couple first attempts were nowhere near that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, just like without Microsoft, it showed the last couple of years Summer Game Fest would not really even be a thing. Well, last year we still had E3, right? The Summer Games Fest last year was a huge disappointment. I didn't really see any point of it. Summer Game Fest this year only was decent because of Microsoft showing as well. I feel like Keighley's been trying to really take over for that E3. You know what I mean? Even as much as right after E3 made this post, I don't know if y'all saw, but again, Keighley made a post right after that saying, "And we're back again with the in-person event next year for Summer Game Fest." I don't know. This was a big opportunity that Keighley had to really go for it and make it a big thing, right? But that actual Summer Game Fest show was a big letdown.
100% it was, yeah.
There was no big third-party publisher support. Ubisoft wasn't there. EA wasn't there. It came across as just like a second-tier show for me. So I do have hope now. Like E3 coming back, I think is going to be a potentially huge thing to hopefully get everybody back in for one big summer showing. Like EA needs to be there. Ubisoft needs to be there. Sony, get back into it. Let's go. You know what I mean? So I think it's a big deal. But the most exciting thing for me is that it's going to be an in-person event and I have a chance to meet a bunch of people in the community. You know what I mean? So that's my most exciting thing. But I think Microsoft, because Phil Spencer is on the board, right, with the ESA.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling
he's pushing for it to return as well. He's the thing with you just mentioned something incredibly important, and I think at the forefront of how Phil Spencer thinks in person, meeting the fans, meeting each other. Let me tell you something, Mav. As great as the spectacle was,
Yeah.
I got to play. I got invited to a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I got invited as a journalist into EA Play, which still blows my mind. I met the hip hop gamer. Like that dude is
Mhm.
his presence on the socials is incredible. Meet that guy in person and it just blows your mind. Like that guy is such a gentleman. I got a chance to hang out with the Iron Lords. I got the chance to not only live with King David for a week. I stole his car. I actually stole his whip.
I heard
which
about
was
that.
awesome.
Keep rubbing it in. Keep rubbing it in.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's all about, right? Getting
Yeah.
together with the community, celebrating games and stuff. I feel like I made a lot of friends and everything since we started this, but like
Yeah.
everything's been shut down. You know, we haven't had much chance to actually like get to meet in person and stuff. And to have this in-person E3 show, I feel like it has a chance to be something huge. Like I also believe because Keely's still trying to do his thing, it creates an interesting thing where it's like maybe everybody's going to try and go bigger to outdo the other. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah.
So we could, but you know, people always say competition breeds greatness, you know? So maybe Keely trying to, you know, go big or go home, and then, you know, E3 trying to stake their claim back as the dominant summer gaming showcase will create a better show for both of them. But the other cool news is because of, you know, the PAX deal that was put in place. E3 was never known as much of as good of an in-person show as something like a Gamescom was or something like that. It was more in the past about journalists, behind the scenes looks, and getting all that stuff done. But now it seems like they're going to go even bigger with the with the fan participation, and the whole event itself will be something that could be even better. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I was talking to Kate about it and like, hey, do you think maybe we can figure out a way to go to LA next year? We'll see. So I'm hoping for that, and I think it'll be a blast.
I think it's going to be great, and you know what? Again, the company that is producing E3 has been confirmed to be producing E3 2023 is ReedPop. Now,
Yeah.
ReedPop has been a veteran production company, and they're behind PAX East, New York Comic Con, Star Wars Celebration, and that's just to name a few. So think about
Mhm.
that for a second, folks. This is the Star Wars Celebration is massive. Millions of people. I've never been. I'm gonna get there before I croak. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, I've been to as both a fan and someone that helped out with the booth a couple of years ago. So I've been there. I've never been to the Mecca, which is San Diego Comic-Con. I'm gonna get there. But think about this for a second. These events, Comic-Con, Star Wars Celebration, PAX, they are the biggest and most. They have the most eyes on them at any time in the year, and now they're going to be responsible for running E3. And you know, getting to your point of what Jeff Keighley had to say, to me, this is a scared response. And I'm not insulting Jeff. Like I said, I think he's incredibly important to the industry. But this was his response almost immediately after the announcement that ReedPop has taken over production duties. As we announced back in June, at Summer Games Fest will return in June 2023 as a free digital and in-person event to celebrate the future of video games, bringing our entire industry together to showcase what's next. And that's great. And you know something, I applaud Jeff Keighley for continuing to be a beacon in the gaming community. I mean, obviously, listen, I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke. He does things that I'm not a fan of. Some of his antics for someone in his position is a bit disappointing because I would never conduct myself that way. I'm an Xbox guy, yeah, but I wouldn't poop on a Sony for no reason. And unfortunately, we've seen him do just the opposite more times than not. And that's fine if that's the way he wants to run his business. But I am going to tell you that he probably saw that. And he has some real concerns because, like I said, ReedPop is responsible for some of the biggest events in the entire year. And now they have now just added E3 to their slate. It's going to be an epic E3. I would imagine, and you said it earlier, Mav, bigger, better, more. It's possible, but listen, Crispy, let's get your opinion on this. But before I do, Crispy, Dreadpool, my God, you're still alive. Welcome back.
Good morning, everyone. Just like E3, I am back.
I love it. I love it, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed you. We missed you. We definitely missed the breakfast talk. We definitely missed.
I got my code word for this one is because it's my daughter's word. I got Doken.
Okay.
So instead of getting a donut, I went ahead and got a sesame bagel toasted with cream cheese and a large coffee, 6 and 6.
Nice.
And
Very nice.
I just made it, so I'm glad I finally got to come back. And life sucks sometimes.
It does. It certainly does. But listen, we're great. We're grateful to have you back. And I'll get to the super chats in a moment. But Crispy, how big of a deal is that not only is E3 returning next year, it's going to be in person. That has been confirmed. But ReedPop again producing. That probably sent shockwaves through the industry because of what they normally do on a yearly basis, and adding E3, man. Oh, I'm super stoked. I'm very excited.
This is the thing. It's happening now, people. This is not going to be we go to next year and they're going to be like, oh, well, we had to change it. We're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
This is happening now because, ReedPop, they do like almost every major event that involves video games or comics or, entertainment.
Or pop culture.
Yeah, any pop culture stuff is just basically they do it at this point. So they've got the funds, they've got the ability, they know how to do this. So, I mean, at this point, I'm super stoked that at some point I'm going to be able to go to one of these things because once they got their hands on it, it's not going away anytime soon. So, and you're going to see, like Microsoft, a bunch of other gaming companies probably throw some money at them and say, let's make this thing big.
Yes.
Because, that's what we need. Another thing, and here's an idea, because they do the PAX thing, it would be kind of cool to have an E3 East. I'm just saying. That would be awesome for the people that can't quite get there. Yeah. I think, if anybody's listening from that company, man, that would be awesome. You got Boston, you could even do it in New York,
Orlando,
even yeah, he wants it. He's like not East Coast.
Well, it is East Coast.
Not that kind of East Coast.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, they can pull off some cool stuff. So that and Keeley, I mean, let's be honest, he's nervous now because now he's got some competition. It's not just Xbox doing their one show. It's now he's got some competition. There's going to be a whole week event, and I think it's going to be more fan focused. You're still going to have journalists and content creators there, but I think it's going to be a little more fan focused, and I think that's the way they should go because at the end of the day, the fans are the ones that are purchasing the product, and it just gives us an opportunity to all get together and have a place to go. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. Look, the ESA unfortunately mismanaged E3 the last couple of years, and they nearly killed the whole thing. And now that it's going to be produced by someone who is responsible for producing some of the biggest events. I have extremely high hopes that this is going to be absolutely amazing, and I want to be a part of their first produced E3. It'll be something I'll be looking forward to do, and obviously I'll be covering live from the floor, which is awesome. Again, it's a lot of work, but it is just as much work that goes into this thing, and as much money as you do spend, because you do spend. I mean, you drop at least $2,000, on flights and room and board and food and everything for the 7 days that are there. So you definitely got to save up for it for sure. It's the meeting of the other community. I tell you, I told this story before, and I have no problems telling it again. I tried everything to get into Xbox Fan Fest, and I just wasn't picked. I know people at Microsoft, but they do it right. They do it fair. People. I'm sure that there are contracts with some people, but I just didn't get in. And Gotham guy who you've seen in this chat, who's been very generous to the channel, had reached out to me when I was already in LA, and he was like, "Hey, listen, my plus one hurt his shoulder in a gym accident, and he's not going to be able to come. Do you want to be the plus one?" And Microsoft was awesome. Like, they were great. He was like, "Listen, just email this person here, and they're going to send you all your credentials." And almost instantaneously, they sent it. And that's my story. I got a chance to meet Bonnie Ross. I got a chance to meet Aaron Greenberg, Larry Herb. It was a ton of people I met over there. It was incredible. The only person I didn't meet was Phil Spencer, because I was hanging out with 343 and getting my poster autographed by the developers of Infinite, and I missed my shot with Phil. So maybe one day, maybe I can get back to see Phil. But folks, if you are a fan, if you are someone that is involved in this community, there is no better place to meet other gamers that you've podcasted with or you've listened to. It's an amazing experience. I'm so glad that it's coming back. Let's get Fuzzy on this.
Mhm.
Fuzzy, you've been to a couple of E3s, if I'm not mistaken. Are you excited that E3 is coming back, but it's being produced by someone that is just legendary in the game?
I think it's the best possible, thing that could have happened as far as E3. Like the mismanagement aspect that they've had in the past, it's definitely run its course. And I think having the same people that run PAX do this will actually breathe new life into it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is a sign that things will be a little bit better as far as not just for like the fans, but even for press and stuff like that coming to the event. Things will be better organized, better scheduling, better timing, like better direction on, okay, this particular booth is going to have a showing at this time. And like it's almost like they, not to say that they weren't the majors before, but it's almost like a serious upgrade as far as how the organization is going to be handled as far as the show itself. But yeah, I think this is in all honesty, the best thing that could have happened to E3. Jeff Keighley was doing this thing, and it was good. It was a good, I guess, stopgap or fill in for the most part. But I like Mav's idea as far as having the competition. Maybe they'll bring for better showings overall on both ends. And get Jeff is going to have to step his game up even further. Like he stepped it up this year. It still feels a little bit more scattered as far as like some of the
Yeah.
showings and things like that. But
Yep.
I think with PAX coming in, and if he hasn't been willing to bend the knee and figure out how to get partnered again, because I know he used to handle or be involved with the E3 stuff before.
He was involved with the ESA, and about 3 years ago he announced that he was leaving to do his own thing. And I think that was probably on the success of the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, he might have bitten off more than he can chew, so to speak.
Yeah, and he's still got time to grow his summer games fest, but I think if worst case scenario, it might be time for him to reach back out to them and integrate them. That might be the best course of action in his regard. Kind of save face, but if more power to him if he can be more of a competitor with the PAX people running it now. I think it's going to be a much tougher fight for him.
Yeah.
But man, I can't wait until next year to go out there and meet some people and just have fun out there for more than just the Xbox show. I definitely want to be out there for the whole week. So yeah,
it's crazy because obviously the channel's relatively small, and one of the biggest videos I've ever done, I did on a whim. I was just walking around the show floor, and I went past the Fortnite booth. And they had the big bus there, and they had all the characters from the game there, and and people dressed up as the characters.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe the size of their area. I mean, it's Fortnite, so I should have believed it, but it was unbelievable. And I wound up taking, like, I don't know, 5 minutes worth of video
Mhm.
of me hanging out with the people in the dressed up, them dancing, having dancing contests with people that would walk up to the booth. It was awesome. And I wound up recording it, and I was gonna scrub it. I was like, I don't know, I'm not gonna put this out there. And thanks to the guidance of the Iron Lords, our Lord Cognito was like, boom, you got to put that out there. It's gonna explode. It wound up getting like 56,000 views, and for me, that's ridiculous because this is a small channel. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad I listened to him. I've been guided by the Iron Lords for many of the decisions that I make, and they're never wrong. And getting a chance to hang out with Sovereign and Addict and King and of course Cognito, it was something I cannot wait to experience again. Web Dave, let's get your opinion on this. E3 coming back. It's going to be big. And it's going to be, and I'm hoping that it's done in such a way that all of us, like everyone that's in the chat now, that's on the panels, could all meet out there. That would be one hell of an experience.
Definitely. I have been to 2 E3s in my lifetime, and they are absolutely amazing. You have never heard loud volumes of music. I mean, I've been to concerts like AC/DC front row, and this was louder than that, and it's all day, every area you go into. Huge, unbelievable. The year that I went, the first year, was the year before Steel Battalion came out, and was in the Microsoft booth playing Steel Battalion for like 2 hours on the prototype board. I'm like, oh my God,
awesome.
this is, I just absolutely fell in love with it, had to buy it. So, dude, and and they had so many things there. I mean, like, met Stan Lee because he was there signing autographs. Met, oh my gosh, the guy who draws Spawn. You think of his name?
Oh, Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane. Yeah, got his autograph in my studio because of that. So
wow,
just crazy stuff like that, as well as all these games and all these, like you said, people and friends. I was fortunate enough that another one of my managers went with me from GameStop, and this was before they had the where the fans could go too. This was strictly, I mean, you had to pay for everything, pay for tickets, pay for a flight out there, have a friend who lives in LA. So I, definitely able to, so if this happens again, dude, let me know. I'll make my way there somehow, hell or high water. I'll get there because it's fun, man. I mean, it's definitely needed and definitely something. Once you've experienced it, you want more of it because there's so much new stuff that you get to see ahead of time, and a lot of swag. They used to pass out a lot of stuff too. So even if it's just like shirts and stuff, and like I said, people you get to meet in the community, and also, people behind the scenes. Met like the people that worked on the Final Fantasy 11 at that time when it was big, and got to talk to some of the developers. Like, a couple of hours just talking to them and BSing with them, and they're like, okay, cool, here, meet up with me in this, and gave me their, where I could actually meet up in the game with them, and they gave me some cool, unique items at the time. I no longer play the game, but at the time, this was like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
it's exciting, and it definitely needs to be back.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I'm glad that it is coming back. Dreadpool, let's get your opinion, your final opinion on this opening topic. E3 coming back. Jeff Keighley putting it out there that, Summer Games Fest is going to be in person. Does it matter?
No. Because he can't. He's good at what he does, but he also flops it. And that's the issue, right? I mean, why Summer Game Fest like on different days with no actual schedule for anybody to do anything? Right. You know what I mean? You can't plan anything. You're trying to figure out what's going on, and I get it because everybody's doing their own thing. But I mean, even if I was doing it, I'd be like, yo, Microsoft, what are you guys doing? Xbox, Phil, what are you guys doing? What day? I'm gonna lock it down. So this way, everybody knows that it's your day here, your time frame. Yep. Hey, the studio so and so. I know you're a small studio, but let's figure you out how to bring you in, and then we'll do something with you, and we'll have a time frame that it doesn't overlap with anybody else. Because we had times with nothing going on. We had times with like 2 or 3 different videos going on, and you're like, what am I watching? Because it wasn't what we thought. We were watching like, and I have no issues with watching devs talk about their game, but a lot of times you're looking for that trailer. You're looking for that excitement, not for, once you're excited for the game, that's a different story, because then you could be like, all right, I'm into this, I want to know more. And then that part of there where the devs talk about their games and the issues and you're overcoming those issues and this and that and being proud of what they've accomplished, then I'm interested. But
Yeah.
before I even know anything about the game, I am definitely not interested. It just turns you off, and that's the whole thing with what he does, and with what do we say, ReedPop, right?
Yeah,
With them
ReedPop,
coming in,
yeah.
holy cow, this is gonna be great, because there's a convention in Jacksonville, and I was going to meet up with Steve Downs. I was going to go up
Oh,
there, meet up
wow.
with him. I mean, I've already interviewed him, so and he's going to do Breaking Bread. It's just we haven't been able to like lock it down. But I was like, all right, well, I know you're going to be there. I'm going to go there. And then I find out that they have like different places for each event, and things overlapped and this and that. And I'm like, this is physically what you don't want. And this was kind of
Well,
like
a
how
lot of
E3
confusion.
was. Yeah.
I found, even though I'm pretty acclimated to knowing the playing field, I found myself having a hard time to find things to watch, to report on.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like E3 should have been a universal thing, and they started kind of wishy-washy because everybody started doing their own thing. And I get it, and that kind of stuff happens. But that's where Jeff should have, nipped that in the bud with his own Summerfest. Hopefully, ReedPop will do the same thing. They will nip it in the bud. This is what we got. This is what we got going. We know Xbox is doing this. If Sony's doing their own thing, here's where it would be, or it's not happening. Nintendo, same thing with them, whatever. But get that information out there, and then this way everybody can get together as gamers, right? Not a fan of one box or another, but forget that BS, right?
Yeah.
As gamers, and we can go to these shows or watch the videos, so because it all depends on, I'm sure they're going to probably do, like I've been saying before, do a mixed service, right? Do the live event and still show it out to everybody, and then certain things would be, while we're transitioning, if we were there in person, transitioning from one studio, or let's say theater, to the next theater, where the next studio or company is going to be doing their thing. They can be keeping the general populace on YouTube or Twitch or whoever occupied with other things, and that's the thing, is like, sometimes, yeah, you don't have to watch everything, but that's where you put those things in between, get it, so that way people can travel and get to this place and that place. Like I said, Jacksonville, I have no idea. I'm like, this theater, and then this theater, and then this theater, and then this church, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second. I'm like, there's not enough time
to get
from
over
when
there.
this one ends to get to the other one. So if I'm assuming that E3 was somewhat similar with that, because
it was actually the way that they did it. We transitioned from one event to another event. Like, we went to, I also forgot to say, I got into the last Bethesda event. Oh my God, they put on such a, wow, what a show Bethesda did before they were owned by Microsoft. And I went with King. I think Cog and Sovereign went with somewhere else, but there were different events that we could go to, and there was a space where you could get from one to the other. Yeah.
And that's the thing. We need something physically that we have enough time to do all this stuff, and keep everybody occupied. And if you don't want to do this thing, that there's something else to do. Those are the times that you go for signings. Those are the times that you go for the other things. Try to keep it so this way, as a group of gamers, right? Just moo us along, right? Just treat us like cattle and just moo us into this section, right? And just, and that's what we need to do. Get into there, get access to these shows, because I mean a lot, and I get it because a lot of times you can't do it, and that was the whole thing with E3, right? E3 at first was specifically for journalists. It was specifically for investors. It was to show off that stuff, and then we got to see it on the outside when everybody reported it in the magazines.
Right.
Then opening it up to fans, and that was a great thing, but it was also a bad thing because of the way they did it. And you see what happened. Right, it started falling apart. It wasn't just the epidemic that happened; it's just it was already trending that
It was
way.
chaotic. Is really what it was.
Right, and hopefully ReedPop will fix all that because they seem to be doing really good. In Orlando, I'll tell you what, the Comic-Con there is rivaling New York City's in size, from
Wow.
what I was told this past one. So they're talking about it was possibly going to be bigger than New York City's.
That's big.
So, and that's
Comic-Con is
that's a
huge.
big thing to for them to say that, and with EA as big as it is, and if they're already doing New York's Comic Cons, and I mean, what did you just mention earlier? The Star Wars celebration,
Yeah.
that's huge.
That's massive, dude. Yeah.
Right. So if they can do that, and there's I don't hear any issues, any crying or anything like that. If they can pull that off, I think they can pull this off.
No, absolutely. And it's funny. This is an opportunity simply because ReedPops has such a history with doing these events that you could potentially see Sony return. You could see Nintendo return. You could see the big three there instead of doing their own thing because it's being handled no longer by the ESA, who unfortunately, were incompetent. They just didn't do a good job, and it broke apart at the seams. And now that it's being produced by ReedPop, who, again, like everyone on this panel, including what Dreadpool just said, is known to produce massive sized events and get all of the best out of everyone that's attending. So I'd love to see Sony return. I'd love to see Nintendo return. And we know that Microsoft is still a part of it. They have been, even when it was falling apart, they didn't leave like everyone else. So it's something to get excited. But listen, folks, I want to transition to the next topic because, my God, folks, look, I'm a gamer, right? I get excited for games like everybody else. But holy H, did you folks see that RoboCop trailer? Well, if you didn't, I'm going to play it for you right now because, wow. Listen, I'm old, so I saw RoboCop in the theaters. But RoboCop Rogue City gameplay that they showed yesterday, completely out of left field, looks amazing. So here it is. I'm going to play it for you right now.
Calling all units,
In local news, a new crime wave that is sweeping Detroit has already claimed the lives of 21 police officers.
Disturbance? I'm a big fan. Now,
That. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Something with the stream. I don't know what happened. Maybe because of the file was too big. But listen, let's talk RoboCop. And I'll see if I can get the footage rolling. Mav, this came out of nowhere. It looks absolutely astounding. It's a first-person shooter. I saw a lot of people wanting third person, and that's fine. I hear you. But I thought the game looked absolutely astounding. What are your thoughts on what they showed for RoboCop Rogue City releasing? I believe it's June of next year.
Yeah, third person, screw that. I want to be RoboCop. I want to look through that visor. I mean, they got everything like perfect on this, man. Like, it just screams. Can I say badass? It screams badass.
Yes, you can say badass. It absolutely is badass.
It was badass, dude. Maybe it's not gonna have like the most amazing graphics in the world. I mean, it's pretty dang good though. It's not gonna have the biggest budget in the world, but man.
But can we stress the fact that Peter Weller
has
returned, the original RoboCop, to voice the character? Hell, freaking
the face, the voice, like the sounds. If you're listening to it, it's just like straight from the movie. And if you liked RoboCop growing up, this is like a dream come true type game to just to check it out. Now I gotta play it obviously first. So maybe it plays like crap. I don't know. But right now I am super excited for it because they've shown me plenty to get my hype up for sure. I'm excited. Did they give a release date?
I
missed
believe
that.
they release window of June of 2023.
Okay, so a year wait. It'll be a rough year wait, but I think I can make it through. Yeah, I will be playing the heck out of this and checking it out for sure. It Not many games can stay true to their the license. We used to get all these really crappy licensed games back in the day, and we're getting some awesome ones now. From a bunch of different genres and stuff. But I mean, this is going like a traditional first-person shooter, but in a way that screams authenticity to RoboCop. So I am super happy for it, man. I can't wait.
Listen, all I know is they better have that guy. I'll buy that for $1 in this game. Otherwise, I'm gonna riot. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane. The gore and blood, and guts, and language, and that's everything. I want it to be like a hardcore game. It looks like that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it does. Based on the trailer, it does look like it's gonna be phenomenal. Crispy, let's get your opinion on this. Obviously, this was a big announcement. I can't believe that it didn't come out during E3. I can't believe this it was a stealth drop. And what's bananas is that apparently this was announced 2 years ago. I don't even remember this, to be honest with you. The dev team is a small team. What did you think about about RoboCop being announced yesterday? And did you get a chance to look at the trailer?
I did. One word: iconic. I mean, come on. I mean, you got Peter Weller. I mean, they did it right. I mean, it's insane that they're pulling this off. And if one thing I'll say, and I know it's a small team, if you guys aren't ready, don't put it out. That's all
Exactly.
I gotta say.
Yep.
You got a year. If you're that confident in it, go for it. But it's one of those things like. The one advantage it has is it's first person. So I think it cleans the mechanics are going to be on point. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, there's so many games that have kind of went through those trials and tribulations from first person view. So, you have plenty to work with there. So I think, you did it. The humor's there. I could see it all in that little trailer. And, I'm just looking forward to it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to play well. So that's what it comes down to.
And you're right. And to give everyone an update of who is actually making this game and when they what they've done in the past. The game is being developed by Polish developer. Their name is Tyon, Tyon, and they're best known for creating the Terminator Resistance game and Rambo the video game, which I don't remember Rambo the video game, to be honest with you. I maybe I missed it. I did 1,000 out of 1,000 achievement the Terminator Resistance. That game was I quite enjoyed it. It was like an RPG with Terminator. Again, is it AAA? No. Was it fun as H? Absolutely. So they are making it, and the game looks good. I mean, and I agree with Crispy here. If anyone from Tayon is listening, just take as much time as you want to get this thing right, because I think the world needs a RoboCop game, and the fact that we're getting one with, of course, Peter Weller returning to reprise his role as RoboCop. Oh my God, I think this is very, very exciting. And again, I just confirming it launches next June. No specific date. They simply just said June of 2023. Let's get Fuzzy's opinion on this. Oh, we got Kay Asante jumping into here. What's going on, Kay? I don't know how Fuzzy. I mean, before I get to you, let's get Kay into the conversation, only because I don't know how long he has. What's up, brother? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing great. I heard the news, and I came here just to say I'd buy that for $1.
I love it. That's great. That's awesome. Listen, you got a chance because I dropped it into the DM. You're an old school cat like myself. Peter Weller reprising the role of RoboCop. The game, even where it is now, looks really, really good. Ed 209 is coming back to fight RoboCop again. Mm-hmm. This is a love letter to the film and franchise. What are your thoughts?
Bro, okay, I'm an old school cat, but I was way too young to be watching that movie. it was way too traumatic. For me.
Incredibly
And
gory.
it has shaped my existence ever since. I was single digits when I watched that film, and that was a detriment to my life, and I will always love it for that reason. That is one of the greatest movies of all times. Like it solidifies the 80s for me. And the fact that Peter Weller is getting a chance to reprise his role, to me, that is just, chef's kiss. It's amazing. Like, now I look at my kids and I'm like, would I let them watch that? Hell no. That is just so bad, but it's amazing. I cannot wait to play this. I hope it is very much in the spirit of the original, it just as gory and just as inappropriate and just, all the references and everything that we've come to idolize about that franchise. It is, I'm super excited. And I'm actually excited because of the developer doing it. Because this game would, in my humble opinion, this game would not work as a big AAA thing. It needs to stay in that AA tongue-in-cheek weird kind of space, which is exactly where it seems to be. They even took the likeness of the face and everything else. It's almost like you're playing the movie, right? Usually playing movie tie-ins, you're just kind of like, whatever. But the movie's so far removed that it's developed this wonderful following that going through those steps again. Oh, I cannot wait, bro. I cannot wait. I was hoping that this would be kind of a surprise drop for 2022. Yeah, I hear that it may not be so, but still, I'm excited. I'm super excited. They couldn't have done this better, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, no,
everything I've wanted to be in here is in here, including the voice actor. Oh, I'm there, 100%.
And like I said, for a small team, it's a very small Polish team.
Mm-hmm.
The game does look really good. I mean, okay, some of the animation, like when they show the gang member in the video booth room, where they're doing the news. It's not AAA budget, but RoboCop himself and the game around him looks phenomenal. Like, it looks really good.
I just saw in the chat right now, Dedeco is saying, and I think he solidifies it the perfect point. It is a B-movie masterpiece, and I love completely agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm glad that you're here, folks. Before I bring Fuzzy into the conversation, I really got to catch up with a lot of super chats, and it just blew my mind how many there are here. JD Gamer dropped a ton of super chats today. The first one of the day is $10, and he says the question really should be, how many more times could we expect Xbox Series X and S to beat PlayStation 5 in weekly sales in Japan? What that means for Xbox overall success in Japan? 1 million sold, 2 maybe more. Yeah, actually, JD, we're going to get into that because that is the third topic of the show, the close out the second half. Listen, I understand once is a fluke, twice maybe, you got lucky, third time, maybe the gaming gods are smiling on your ass that day. This is starting to become a trend, and we're going to get into what Microsoft just did, which has completely shook the fabric of what you can expect Microsoft to do in that region of the East. They're no longer considered a joke. I mean, just for shits and giggles, in the last 3 days, I've been counting how many times I've seen a lot of our Asian brothers and sisters who are gamers putting out there on the socials that they got an Xbox Series X, that they got an Xbox Series S, that they're going to design these to design labs to design these incredible looking controllers. 7 the first day, 6 the next day, and 7 the day after that. And that's just my feed. So I know that if you are into social media like I am, and you keep your ear to Twitter, you have been seeing this. This is not a fluke. Microsoft is making a footprint for themselves in that region, and that's thanks to the tenacity of Sarah Bond and Aaron Greenberg, and specifically Phil Spencer, who's been going back and forth to Japan for years to fortify these relationships.
But Boom, I was told that that's the only reason why is because that there are no PlayStations to buy there. So
that's the running.
They can't come up with 12,000 PlayStations. They got a huge problem.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. Bunty, who's been a big supporter of the channel for 14 months, He says, "Good morning, Boom and panel. Enough respect to everyone, and God bless. Indeed, God bless you, and of course, thank you for being here and supporting the channel." JD Gamer drops an additional $2 super chat. Says, "Hello, panel. Hit the like button, folks, and thank you for that, JD." And JD has also been a very big supporter of Double Barrel Gaming since its inception many, many years ago. He drops, let's see, 3 more super chats of $5 each. The first one is, "This is honestly my dream, and what I complained about and what I campaigned for: a PAX / E3 amalgamation with all of the pop and circumstance of E3 would with the benefits of the community of PAX." Yeah, see, that's the thing with PAX. If you've never been to a PAX, I've been to 4. It is a fans show. Like, it is such a fans show. Like, regardless of whether you are a content creator or just going there for the wares, everyone is treated so well, and everything is so accessible. Unlike a lot of the stuff that the ESA was doing with E3, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do now that they're in charge of production duties when it comes to E3. His second $5 super chat is, "Let's just admit it that E3 is a dominant gaming event, because even when it doesn't show up at the time in June, it's associated with the name E3 is back." Indeed. And another super chat. Well, he's been quite a few super chats. Wow. He says, "I think Jeff will get some Sony exclusive next year, but lose most of other major publishers as they defect back to ReedPop to run E3 for the win." And I think you're onto something with that. I would even dare say, JD Gamer, that, and I said this before and I say it again, I think there's a good shot that Sony and at least Nintendo comes back because of who's producing it. JD Gamer drops another $5 super chat and says, "We wanted this. I wanted this. We are all sold. We all said E3 should take some notes from PAX, and now they will be run by ReedPop. Well, I think this is a winning formula." And he drops an additional $10 super chat. Actually, let's see, 2 more $10 super chats. Wow, dude. Thank you for the incredible generosity. He says, "What happens after next year when E3 comes back with a banging success if ReedPop then moves to the next logical step and begins their own award show?" Holy shit, dude. I didn't even think about that. Man, that would push Jeff into a corner. And that's wow, dude. That is something. And if they do see success for E3, I wouldn't be surprised if the producers of ReedPop did say, "Let's take on Jeff Keighley." At that point, maybe Jeff has to, tuck the tail between the leg and go kiss the ring, so to speak. And his last $10 super chat says, "I think the next logical step for Jeff, the next logical step is what Jeff is afraid of. So no more Sony Game Awards show, but an actual industry-wide Game Awards show with transparency and panels making decisions about nominees." Wow, wow, wow.
Facts.
That is the comment of the year. And we still have 5 months left of the year. Best comment I've heard. It is the most truthful comment I've ever read live on the air. And JD Gamer, honored that you blessed me with so much of your monies in super chats, but that is the comment of the year, and I would love to see that happen, because quite frankly, when we call the Game Awards, we say it jokingly or facetiously, the Keighleys. And a lot of people call it the Sony Awards, and a lot of people feel that way. And it's that, I think JD Gamer just completely knocked it out of the park with that one. Fuzzy,
that one deserves a.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, right. I love it. I love the cracks down right on the air. That was the comment of the year. Absolutely. But let's reel it back in. Let's talk about RoboCop. You're an old school cat like us. Where does this announcement levy for you as a gamer, but more importantly as a fan of the actual RoboCop, that they got Peter Weller to come back? That is freaking amazing.
That was like the thing to seal the deal for the most part, getting him to voice the main character and stuff. I think that solidifies it as being a true to form type of recreation in a video game. But like when I saw they had like some sort of like they did almost like a Metro type of deal a few years ago where they just showed the title, and I'm like, yeah, we could probably expect that in 2025 because it's a smaller team. I figured they're going to be out, at least 5 years or so. Because I think that it was 2020 or so when they showed like just the title. I'm like, we're probably not going to hear about this for a while, and by the time we do, we will have forgotten that they even announced anything. And to see that it's coming possibly next year is got my hype levels to beyond the roof or through the ceiling type of deal. But yeah, I'm glad they showed the animation of him getting his side arm out of his leg. I'm glad they showed the Ed 209 out there as well because I'm like, you got to have something that's at least going to make you want to hide behind cover. Shooting a lot of bullets back at you type of deal. But yeah, I can't wait to play it. After seeing the trailer, there's a lot of like little things that I noticed, like the blood spray and all that stuff. Yeah, I know that it sounds weird, like, oh yeah, you see the enemy's heads explode or whatever. Yeah, no, it's true to form for like what you saw in the movie.
Well, it's what RoboCop is, a B campy kind of a I mean, remember how they killed him when he became RoboCop? He stood there and they just blew off his fingers, his arms. He's screaming and it was just a complete 5-minute gore fest of them just laughing as they're cutting him to pieces.
Yeah. So it fits with the movie. It looks like it's going to translate perfectly into that game, and I just can't wait for it. I mean, yeah, I know it sounds a little morbid, I guess you could say, as far as the things that I'm looking forward to in the game.
No, but
that's what the movie was.
It's a game, dude.
Exactly.
It's a game. It's a movie turned into a game. Like I said, the original movie is incredibly gory.
Yeah,
it stained the childhood of Kay Asante. He just said that live on the air.
it kind of did the same for me, but it was like in a good way because it's like, all right, the good guy wins at the end type of thing. But it's like it is the epitome of the '80s movie, and I'm all there for it. I can't wait, man.
Please, just tell me that towards the end of this game, he takes off his helmet and starts calling himself Murphy. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, all I know is that I can't wait to hear "Dead or Alive, You're Coming with Me." I cannot wait, and they're gonna play it up real good, like they should, 100%. Let's get Web Dave's opinion on it. Again, you are in the same age group where a lot of us are, and you probably remember RoboCop exclusively being a gory thing. Where does this sit for you as what we know is coming in 2023? 2023 is going to be a banger of a year, as the kids say, and this just adds more whipped cream to this delicious banana boat sundae that they're building for games.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
I love it. There you go.
Yes,
I love it.
Dude, it's I can't tell you how awesome this is. I mean, I even played the old 16-bit RoboCop game, and that was fun.
Do you remember RoboCop versus Terminator for the NES? And it came in that big black thick plastic. Oh my, it was awesome.
Yeah, this was going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, there's a really good documentary if anybody gets a chance to watch it. I think it's available actually on YouTube of RoboCop, the making. I mean, they had to do a lot to get through not get an NC-17 rating. To actually get it released into theaters.
That's crazy
because it was so gory. And we're talking like just little things that they had to take out, and certain scenes where they cut them just a little short, just enough to get it past the ratings board at the time. But yeah, it's a rite of passage. I mean, come on, you got to have your kids watch that Kay Asante. Come on. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It made you the man you are today, sir.
Indeed. Maybe when wifey's off on vacation for a weekend or something, I'll be like, this will be our little secret,
Hey, don't feel bad. I have to do that too with my kid and my wife. She's
Exactly.
out. It's like, what was it? The Fox and Hound. She wasn't allowed to watch that, and I was like, oops, don't tell your mother.
Don't tell mom. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. Don't watch Old Yeller. I'm just saying. But dude, I'm very excited for this. I was fortunate enough I got to meet Peter Weller at a convention
awesome,
here.
Dude.
Yeah, it was actually here in Owensboro. He actually was in town to do a convention small little movie convention here, and they actually played what was it, Buckaroo Banzai, where
Oh wow,
he
that's
talked before it
awesome.
and everything, and signed autographs. Man, he is so nice. And but yeah, that he's coming back to actually do the voice. I mean, you really couldn't have anybody else do it. Even the remake they did was okay, but it's nothing like the original. The
The
original just
remake was I'll say it was terrible. I got excited, but I was like, there's some things you can't remake,
the practical
and
effects were amazing.
yeah, they were, but I kind of like the campy B stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. The humor, the everything about it was perfect. The remake was nothing compared to the original. And this looks
Yeah.
like this has the beating heart of the original in the game. So
Yeah.
if it does this, if it even comes to 50% of what our expectations are, it's going to be a great game to play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It has skyrocketed to my most anticipated game in 2023. And again, I know that there's a lot of stuff, the stuff coming from Sony, the stuff coming from Nintendo, obviously Breath of the Wild 2. You have Redfall, you have Starfield. There's plenty of stuff to get excited about. But if there's one game that completely floored me at its announcement, was what happened yesterday. I like I said, I think they're really dotting all the I's and crossing the T's, just based on the trailer. And you saw it. I didn't get a chance to play it, but it's only 1 minute and 38 seconds. But in that, under 2 minute trailer, it just gave off such an old school vibe of the film. And that's very hard to do, to translate to a video, because sometimes trailers they could ruin it for you, and you have to wait for the final product. This got me very, very excited. I can't wait to see what the final product is going to be. I hope that they make a collector's edition where I can get like a statue of RoboCop or something. But that's again rocketed to the forefront of my most anticipated game of 2023. But folks, as we transition to another big talking point, just got to thank a couple of people here who dropped super chats. We have one from Drawn TJ, good generous friend of the program. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, "Good morning, guys, and good morning to you." We also have one from, let's see this, Sith Lord, another generous friend of the program. He drops a $2 super chat and says, "Do you think Xbox will have a bigger presence at the Tokyo Game Show?" I do. I think they're going to have a very big presence there because it's a region that they are really trying to notoriously they have failed there for years. And we're actually going to get into that particular topic right now, as a matter of fact. We also have Jordan TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says the NACON event was awesome. Best generation of gaming. And Spartan Ghost _117 drops a £2 super chat and says Jason Schreier is still crying about the my Microsoft Activision deal. Look, I'm not going to ruin this podcast by mentioning that rat's name, other than just reading the super chat. F that dude. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that right now. That guy is listen, he is who he is. End of story. But folks, we've been talking up Microsoft, we've been talking up Japan. Well, yesterday we got word from several people in the gaming community where we got some numbers, folks. And the first one comes from Astal of Twitter. He actually posted the actual numbers for sales this week for Xbox Series X and Series S in Japan. And here's what's bananas. The Xbox Series X in Japan this week sold nearly 10,000 units, 9,756 to be exact, totaling the amount since it launched in Japan at 123,620. Now, the Series S, which actually sold significantly less, and I'm actually surprised, sold 2,774 for a total of 136,884. Now, why this is important and why it's a significant conversation that I want to have with everyone on this panel and the 300 people here in the chat is that Microsoft has traditionally not been a part of the conversation when it came to gaming. They weren't even a blip on the map. And now we're starting to see, and we have been seeing for months now, that they have now put a thumbprint into that region of the world. And it's a lot to do with the console sales. It's a lot to do with the fact that you can play Xbox anywhere, specifically on your phone, which we know that Japan is a very mobile-centric gaming type of situation over there. Well, another tweet came, and this is pretty interesting, folks. Microsoft has officially been around for 22 years, right? 22 years of Xbox. In 22 years, not counting what they've done with the Series X and the S, they have sold lifetime 250,000 units, which is nothing. And think about that for a second. That's the OG Xbox, that's the Xbox 360, and that's the Xbox One. That's three generations of consoles sold 250,000 lifetime. Well, they have officially surpassed that since the X and the S launched in Japan, and they're currently sitting, as of today, 260,504 units sold. They have surpassed lifetime sales of all three generations with the Series X and the S. That is a monster achievement. It is a big deal. It's worthy of a conversation. Kei Asante, let's get your opinion on this. How big of a deal is this for Microsoft's path to continue success in Japan?
Oh, I think it's very important. I think it's very, very important. I've been, and shout out to the man, Mr. Everborn Saga. He and I have been having these kind of conversations about their thoughts and wanting to reach out to the Japanese audience and get Japanese developers involved. We have this conversation pretty frequently, as you see. What do you call it? Microsoft themselves, Xbox themselves, just refuses to give numbers now because it always tended to look really, really terrible in their favor. But as you can see now, the numbers are still changing. I've always been under the impression that at some point you need to just stop focusing and pandering. I say it's pandering. Like, you need to stop pandering to that audience, because it becomes this pervasive narrative that, oh, they keep wanting them, and oh, nobody wants them back, right? So it looks like they just went, you know what, we'll focus on just making quality stuff, making the hardware look good. Yeah, they're still targeting them. I know they are. The Series S is clearly geared towards that audience, right? And obviously all the other services that they're offering as well, as far as Game Pass and all that, and the cloud aspects of it, it is geared towards an audience that is mainly mobile focused, that just wants to take their stuff on the go, not necessarily have to plunk a big device in front of a TV, and they're just moving forward in that direction, right? And I knew that eventually, as the world and as the economies as our economies are all linked together, at some point the Japanese audience will see, and developers alike will see that, hey, there's a large group of folks here, right? And look at the deal with Riot Games. It is going to be undeniable that the Xbox / the Game Pass platform is a necessity in order to succeed in that world, because Riot Games has huge numbers in Japan, like huge numbers in the East in general, right? I think on last check, their mobile game is 130 million subscribers a month.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
ridiculous.
Just their mobile
It's absurd. Yeah.
right? So now that you hear, hey, Xbox has this deal with them, and now you're going to be able to get all those, you'll be able to play that game from Game Pass. And oh, by the way, those characters that was almost $1,000 to get together come included. Like, I can expect to see those numbers grow.
They're insta unlocked.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I am not surprised at all. Now, what I would really like to know is how it breaks down as far as Game Pass subscribers that are solely Game Pass focused in the East. Meaning, you subscribe to Game Pass, you use it on your device that is not an Xbox, and you just move forward. Like, initially, and those of us in the States, and those of us in the West with not so great internet, go, it's a feature, not the main deal, right? We always say that, oh, it's good that it's a feature, because obviously Stadia didn't succeed in that. But myself, and I will out him because he's been a fraud for a while, Mr. Everborn Saga, who now has a Steam Deck, has started playing his xCloud via cloud on the Steam Deck, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a believer now." There's a world where you can just subscribe to Game Pass, have a solid device that's able to stream your stuff to your screen, and you will be happy. I was playing AC Origins for hours, even though I could have played it natively through Steam Deck, cloud stream, and it's perfection. So imagine being in an environment where internet is ubiquitous, connection stability is not an issue. You don't need the box. You can just subscribe and be good. And I honestly think that because of all that goodwill that's bubbling up and all of that adhering to what those fans in the East want, that's what's seeing these numbers grow, because it's all about convenience, right? Just because you have Netflix doesn't mean you never buy a DVD, right? You still buy your movies of choice, but once you join that ecosystem and you understand the convenience of it, then you start adding more accessories. Then you start becoming a fan. Then you start going, "Hey, I don't need this extra controller, but that thing looks cool, so I'm going to buy it. I don't need the Series S because I have it on my phone, but you know what? It's small enough. I can put it in the house. It's not even that expensive. I'll buy into that as well." So as we're going on, and as they start putting games out that those folks also really see and adhere to, you'll see these numbers grow even further. That's not to discount Sony by any chance, because they rule the roost for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see this happen, because one-sided always lets them rest on their laurels a little bit. But now we see the numbers are growing. We see that they're aggressive in that space, and that will only cause PlayStation to also be aggressive, and that will work best in our favor, because then games start coming out for everybody, right? And we all start enjoying these kind of things. So I'm really excited to see that this is happening. One bit of smoke that I will give Microsoft on this is, yeah, I hear you when you say we're no longer going to talk about sales numbers. But then when the sale numbers are in your favor, you have Aaron Greenberg out there going, "Thank you, everybody, for buying."
Yeah.
Either you support it or you don't. And if you are, just put the numbers out and just be done with it already, right?
I
Don't
agree.
sit there and wait till the numbers look good, and then you got to go, "See, we are doing it." Like,
and
one
speaking
or
of
the
numbers, I got to apologize. I actually got it wrong. I read the report wrong. Microsoft has sold more than 250,000 consoles. Again, I have the notes in front of me, and I jumbled it. So just a big apologize to get it out there. They've sold millions of Xboxes. I read the report wrong. What they were reporting,
I think maybe 360 still outdoes it.
Yes,
360 is like at 1.6 something.
I think it's 1.66 million. I just pulled it up. So so folks, listen, don't come for the torches and the pitchforks. I got it wrong.
It's fine. It's fine. And if I'm not mistaken, the reason the 360 was so huge was because they had Dead or Alive on there.
They had a bunch of Dragon. They had Lost Odyssey.
Exactly.
So
taking that into consideration, and they don't have that same level of, "Hey, we have games for you now." Imagine when they start having games for you now. We will see. I will predict now, we will see ultimately this series generation outshine the 360, which is a big number.
Well, currently, their lifetime sales before this week were at 250,000 of the Xbox Series X and S, and now after this week's sales, it's at 260,504. So again, apologies for the host of the show reading it wrong. I apologize for that. But here's the thing: Asante just really brought up an amazing point. I don't know if you guys are into like the Bing rewards that you get, the Microsoft rewards.
Oh, 100%.
I'm huge into it. I've probably got about over $100 worth of points just playing games and answering quizzes and stuff. But suspiciously, though, I think it was last month. I don't know if anyone remembers this. One of the rewards for the 10 points for answering a question was, which game would you want to see come back to Xbox? And they picked, there was the two choices were Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon. Now, of course, I think it was like 83% said Lost Odyssey, because that game is, if you've never played it, it's freaking phenomenal. What a great JRPG. If that comes back, and we talked about this yesterday with Asa, he's a big fan of it. He'd love to see it come back. I would love to see that team do a Final Fantasy VII type remake of Lost Odyssey. Oh my God, that would be absolutely amazing. But Mav, let's get your opinion on this. Look, the sales numbers speak for themselves. 260 plus thousand units sold since it launched in Japan, and this is on the heels of no AAA bombs, no bangers, as the kids saying. They just announced that Persona is finally coming to the platform. Now again, Yakuza came and that did really well for Sega. That shocked a lot of people how many gamers quite enjoyed that series. Two of those titles just got back into Xbox Game Pass this week. The Riot deal is going to be a big deal for sure. How important is this small success for Microsoft's march into the East?
Yeah, it's still got a long way to go to catch up with Sony. There, I don't know if they'll ever will. Yeah, I mean, but that being said, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that they are finding a fan base there again, of any size, to be honest with you. I mean, it's been a while, right? It's been since the 360 days where they had done pretty well, in Japan. Still at the time, not close to the competition there. However, it was enough to bring more games, right? More from those creators over there, because there's more of an interest. I think for the most part, it's about the games for me. Like the sales numbers, like, okay, if they do really, really well there, they're going to get like 1.6 million, like they did with the 360, right? Over there, 2 million. And that'd be amazing. So grand scheme of things, is that a huge thing compared to their overall sales numbers, what they're hoping for this generation? No, it's a very small slice. Yeah. But what it does for the culture of the games and for the game development is extremely important. It's why Japan is such a important part of the puzzle for all of these games, is because there's so much creative development talent there. And unless you get the actual people involved, it's going to be hard to get the creative talent there interested as well. You know what I mean? So it's one thing like, well, nobody here, and imagine if like nobody in the States cared about Xbox, right? Like the only people here cared about Sony or cared about these other things. It would be harder to get these devs to make games for Xbox, right? And the same thing goes for there. Like you want to have enough of a popular brand that's growing and showing health to get people interested in creating products, and they've done that way better this generation than they did last. Last was just a complete flop there. It was a complete abandonment of the market, and it goes beyond just the consoles now. You got them setting up more for marketing. You got them setting up more for reaching out to the communities and doing, I think like Xbox Wire just launched in Japan.
Yeah, they launched last month, Xbox Wire Japan. Yep.
Doing a lot of that stuff. And then it comes down to the investment in the games. And what did we get at this last showcase, right? We had a huge Japanese presence at the showcase now, right? So it's all hand in hand. So you come out with the products, you come out with the brand, you come out with the vision, you come out with something that you feel like can grow there. You have xCloud, you have Game Pass, you have a Series S, which is extremely popular everywhere right now. And you get the games, like a game like Naraka Blade Point that is actually doing really, really well on Xbox, right?
Yep.
Launching Game Pass. So you're going to be able to play that game in the cloud. You can play that game on your console, on PC, or wherever. And you get it with Game Pass. And you get Kojima coming now. You got more and more announcements. And I think that's just going to grow over time. They're making it a focal point. They haven't given up on Japan. And I think for me, it makes things more exciting because I get some of these games that used to skip Xbox, right? I get games like Diofield Chronicles coming from Square Enix soon, right? That maybe that would have skipped Xbox before. I'm not sure, but like it's interesting to see this resurgence of Japanese interest into the brand. And I think we all win for it, especially if you like a lot of variety in your gaming, if you like different things, if you like anime, or if you like these JRPGs, or you like things like Yakuza, right? Or Judgment, stuff like that. It's all a big win. And now Atlas coming on board as well.
Yeah, that's
going to be a huge deal, right? So it's big, and you can't also discount things like not even within the actual console sales, right? But you have things like the Riot Games deal, right? With like I think that's like League of Legends and all those games, right? Are part of that.
Yeah.
And that's big in the Asian territories as well, right? So it's more than just about console sales. It's about the whole brand and marketing and getting people involved in the ecosystem. And I think what's even would be more interesting is if we knew how many Game Pass subscribers there were in Japan. Like, I really want to know those numbers, right? Because
maybe
I
that's
think that's
something
a
that they
huge
announced
thing for
after
them.
the Riot deal is supposed to happen this fall, right? And obviously, console sales, which are still a part of the conversation, they're important. They're not a focal point for Microsoft because they want you in Game Pass. That's their bread and butter. I think that maybe we hear something because you have to imagine if you just look at the Japanese audience, 10, 15 years ago, people used to wait online for 2 days for consoles. That's not the case anymore. They have moved to cafes and laptops and mobile gaming. That's their shtick, right? That it has been that way for the last couple of years. One of the big games in that region of the world is League of Legends. Many of their mobile games. Again, Kay Asante said it eloquently before. It's almost $1,000 to get all the characters. Like right now, like if I'm new to the game and I want to get every character, it's $1,000. The minute this deal happens, and it's going to be worldwide when it launches, you're going to be able to get all those characters by just paying your $15 a month. And I think that alone, I mean, just look at the numbers. I think Kay Asante said it was like 150 plus million people per month play that game.
130 million subscribers per month. Yeah.
So
active users.
Active users per month. So again, if you want to really downplay this, and I know there's people going to be in the chat like, well, just a second, boom. No one's going to.
And that's literally one game of I think 4 games that they have.
That's one of
one mobile game. Yeah,
that's one of 4. So just imagine this for a second. If you want to lowball this as possible, as much as you can turn around and say if 5% of those 130 million people jump onto Xbox Game Pass because they're fans of this 1 out of 4 games that they have, they're going to get another 10, 15,000 potentially in one swoop.
Well, what drives people to subscribe to services? For me, for gaming services, it's savings, right? And value.
Yeah.
Value. More than anything else. Like I'm not going to subscribe to something if it's like necessarily in just an add-on that I have to get maybe some more things that I was never really interested in to begin with. But if I was going to buy something, but now because I'm subscribed to it, I get it for cheaper because I'm part of the service. That's where I see the value in. Now, if I'm a huge fan of those games, then I see value in that because you can, like a lot of these free-to-play games and these games that have like add-on content, one piece of content is usually like $15.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you do, all right, you can pay $15 once a month. That's like a battle pass almost. You know
Pretty
what I mean?
much. Yeah.
And you get everything. You get everything that's come out for it. I mean, that's like an insane amount of value. And I just think that they hit the money on the head with that deal that they made. That was like astounding. And it kind of slipped under the radar, a
lot of people weren't talking about it, honestly.
Because it's not a big console thing. It's not coming to consoles. I wish it was coming to consoles. Maybe there's hope for it in the future. But that was one of the biggest moves that they had made. Because even though it's not necessarily large in our community, right? If you look at the grander scope of things, it is bigger than what a lot of us play and what a lot of us are interested in as far as like the grand scheme of things, And they made some huge moves that are going to be paying off not only here but in Japan and other parts of the world as well. Because it's not just about Japan; it's about Europe, and other territories over there as well that they have neglected in the past, right? So they're making huge strides, and I think globally the brand is doing way better than it has in a long time. They still got some room to go for sure, but they're getting there now, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuzzy, Crispy, let's get you in on the conversation, and I'll bring Fuzzy on the back end. Crispy, this is we're starting to look. You build a house by starting a foundation, right? You don't build the roof first and then throw it on after everything is done. You got to start from the bottom up. Microsoft traditionally has done terrible in Japan. That's a fact, right? Even though I got the numbers wrong, which I apologize once again for, the fact that they have a presence in the conversation in that region, just based on what they have already released. Now, Persona still not in there, right? The Riot Games deal doesn't happen until the fall. We don't have any major announcements of Japanese level exclusives like a Blue Dragon remake or a Lost Odyssey remake, and they're still finding success in that region. Again, when you compare it to what Sony is doing and what Nintendo was doing, it is a very small number. Let's not say that Microsoft's going to come in and take over the scene. They're not going to do that. They're going to probably always be number 3, but they're still going to have a seat at the table, so to speak. What are your thoughts on these updated numbers?
They're competing now. I mean, far cry from the Xbox One generation. That was pretty lackluster in itself. So on top of that, there was no interest. There's interest now, so there's a start. The numbers, I mean, we'll see as some of these deals start putting through, and I'm sure in general, seeing Kojima making a game has probably got them a little bit excited for that. So it's one of those things where I'm interested to see how this keeps going. The Game Pass numbers, that's going to be an interesting thing. How many people are just subbing to it just to use their phone? I would be curious to find out that. And one of those things where you do that for a while and then you say, I see this Series S just sitting here and let me grab it. I mean, I'm enjoying the value that I get with Game Pass, and let me just continue to move forward with that. And it's exciting to see, because they really haven't done anything for years, and now it seems they're taking Asian markets seriously.
Yeah, real quick, I got to do a quick shout out. Who was it that just said it? Ali in the chat says, "Boom, dealer has COVID. Give him a shout out." I didn't even know that. I just checked his Twitter, and yeah, he does. And what's sad about that is he got COVID, but the fact that it just goes to show you what kind of a person he is. He did primetime gaming on Monday. I keep saying Monday, on Wednesday night. It was a great show, and he was sick. He was like, "Yeah, pardon me that I got a cold." Turns out that
we could tell something. I didn't say anything, but it was like the cough was a little suspicious. I hope he feels better.
Yeah. So big shout out to Dealer Gaming. Get over to his Twitter at @dealer_gaming and give him a shout out and best wishes as well. Yeah, see, COVID's still a thing, folks. It's actually still a thing, and people are getting affected. That's why you gotta cross your I's and dot your T's. At least that's what I'm doing.
That's why we got to remember to be respectful to each other because of things. We can't yet again go attacking. We need to be welcoming. We need to be, patient.
Patient. Man, how about just be a decent human being? How about that? Cool?
Exactly. So best wishes to Dealer on getting healthy fast.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't have any complications. Hopefully that if he's boosted up and he's and everything, that he's gonna have he's not gonna have too much of a tough time, because obviously he's an important part of this community. We want to see him come back and be as good as we know that he can be. Fuzzy, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Japan numbers again. They just crossed 260,000 lifetime sales of the Xbox Series X and S. And like I said, there are numbers, if you compare to the PlayStation 5, what they've sold there, and specifically the Switch, very minuscule. Yeah. But I think that when you look at traditionally what they've done, it hasn't been as magnanimous as this is proving out to be. And like I said, we know, thanks to Sarah Bond, who said this, I think it was last year, they have partnered up with 200 developers in Japan, meaning that there are people that want to make content for this box. And we're starting to see a lot of those trips that we heard Phil Spencer go to and spend his time in Japan now come to fruition. How big of a deal is this for their plans, their future plans on being a part of the conversation in that region of the world?
Well, it's a great foundation that they're building over there. Like for the most part, Sony is still doing, and they're going to continue to do well there. That
Yeah,
is
sure they
their
are.
home
That's
turf.
their home turf. That's right.
But they've taken some of the focus and shifted more to like Europe or the Europe region as far as like their main marketing push, as well as the US. So it gives Xbox that window of opportunity to grow their brand there. And I think the biggest thing is, if you look at last generation with the Xbox One versus now, I'm pretty sure they kind of doubled what the lifetime of what the Xbox One did in just like the first 2 years of the series console. So they're already off to a great start. And if everything keeps up on at this pace, I would say they stand a chance of matching or possibly even exceeding what the 360 did over there. And that translates, or hopefully will translate, to more games from that region, making an appearance day and date on the Xbox platform. So I don't want to pop the cork just yet as far as the overall. It is a very good sign as far as the performance that they're doing over there, but it's still going to be a long road. And this generation, hopefully, is going to be another long one as far as 8 to 10 years or so. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's going to help bring more, I guess, notice or recognition from the developers over there to look at this brand or this platform and say, you know what, there is a fan base here in my own backyard as well as across or throughout the world. So let's try this RPG or JRPG, or let's try this new game that, yeah, we were probably only going to put it on the Switch, or we were probably only going to put it on PlayStation. Let's look at Xbox as well, and see what the fans abroad think of our product, and go from there. And I think it will help deepen that relationship in that region. I mean, given that was it cloud gaming in general, as far as Xbox, cloud streaming and stuff, fits that region a good bit better possibly than it does here in the States, as far as the gaming habits of the consumers out there. But I think in the grand scheme of things, this is a step in the right direction. And I look forward to it continuing, and more people posting pictures of their design lab controllers, and unboxing their Series S or Series X, and making more, I guess, gaming friendships over there, as well as more developers coming to our platform. It's a win-win-win-win.
Yeah, I have actually, and I'm going to read the correct numbers now, folks. This is coming from Tweaktown. They said Xbox consoles, and this was reported March 8th of 2022. Microsoft has sold only 2.3 million Xbox consoles in Japan over the last 20 years. The Xbox 360 is the only console to break the 1 million number. And that also comes from the weekly Famitsu Wave, who's very, very reputable in Japan. So just to give people the idea of how poorly they have done in Japan in their course of 20 years, seeing them cross 260,000 units in just the Xbox Series X and S. Again, if they continue to add games to Game Pass that those types, that region of gamers enjoys, like JRPGs, and they partner with the right people, it's going to be a much brighter future for them. And again, are they going to take over Japan? No, they're never going to be out of third place. But the Riot Games deal certainly gives me hope that they're going to be a part of the conversation. JD Gamer drops 2 additional $5 super chat and says this: what happens next year at TGS when Microsoft shows up with Sega as an acquisition, or Koei Temco as a major partner, and 5 original JRPGs in development? That would be said. But he says something that's incredibly interesting, and I kind of wonder if this is something that has not been talked about enough, and it's a potential conversation. He says, I'm all for a Mistwalker acquisition. I need a Lost Odyssey 2 and Blue Dragon 2, more Eternal Sonata and Star Ocean. On a side note, add Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Yeah, I mean, Mist Walker, they haven't really been doing a lot. I think they have a
It's like
mobile
mobile
game.
games.
Yeah, a couple of mobile games that have come out. And you've heard Phil Spencer specifically say publicly they would love to own a Japanese studio in that region of the world, and they do actually have one now through the Bethesda deal. But Mistwalker would be game changing news for them. Let's see who's left on there. Web Dave, let's get your opinion on this. Then we get Dreadpool about this. These numbers. Web Dave, are you encouraged? And does this success that Microsoft's seeing is seeing in that region of the world, does this make them continue to push the envelope of making partner deals with games that traditionally skip the console?
Yes, it's a good thing all around that they are definitely on the uptick. Look, I'm going to be the one that's going to be taking the L on this today, Ben, because I'm the one that sent you the story.
Oh
in our group
no,
chat.
no, there's no L.
I misread it to be honest with you. But the encouraging thing about it is basically what the article was saying was that the numbers were above and they continue to grow. Is
Yes.
basically the gist of the article.
Yeah.
But Microsoft has already surpassed just the last generation. With was it 120?
It was terrible. The Xbox One sold so terrible.
Exactly,
it was
exactly.
awful.
So, and if they're at over a 250,000 now, you got to think that there's definitely a good chance that this system can surpass their overall numbers all around with as much as they're growing. And I think that it's going to happen. I think that they're on the right track, and I think that Microsoft, doubling down and refocusing in Japan is a key that's good for everybody, not just because certain people out there that want it and other people say, oh, we don't need those. We do need them, folks. We need this because the more you get the Japanese developers involved and they see, oh, well, it's worth my time to do this.
Yep.
It's beneficial to us because overall it makes the brand stronger by having to be honest with you, the diversity of programmers available from different people making these different games. And the stronger we are brand wise, universally, that's gonna really help Xbox in the long run to maybe someday surpass Sony. That's or
That's
at
the
least
goal for every
be an
business.
equal competitor. So
yeah. No, good stuff. Listen, Dreadpool, to be honest with you, the talk of Xbox in Japan has been one that people have clowned on. Like, yeah, big deal. They sold one console this week or whatever. But I think that the exclamation point on this conversation that we're having today is Kojima. That Kojima signing is massive. And I think that there are a lot of gamers, a lot of people, there are several people on my panels, like, they think that Kojima is extremely overrated. I would disagree because I really do like his games. I know they're wacky. They're a bit, the stories are very elaborate. I don't think he's overrated. I think it's his way of telling stories. My favorite game in my top 5 games of all time is Metal Gear Solid. Still in the top 5 of all time of my 40 years of gaming. I can't wait to see what he brings to the table with these new numbers, this continued success. Do you think that what they're doing with Atlas, what they're doing potentially with Kojima, maybe even teaming up with Sega like they did late last year about these big tentpole games they're going to make? Do you think that all of these different avenues that they went down have now shown the fruits of the labor?
Yes. I gotta say one thing though. I gotta disagree with you. Kojima is overrated.
I knew someone was going to say that. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I hear it.
But he's earned his place. So I got to give him his due props, because if it wasn't for Metal Gear and what he's done on Nintendo, right, from back then, you know what I mean. So, and he's done other things too. So he's done more than just gaming. He's developed storyline. He's developed all this stuff. So he needs due props. But yet again, other people treat him as a god, and he's not. He's just a He's just a man with his visions that sometimes, I don't know, I want to deliver some packages like UPS or FedEx. But, hey, if that's what it takes for Xbox to get in there, we're going to start delivering packages in Japan. That's fine. There's no problem with that. No, seriously though, it, we need to have, we want to have more experiences, right? And not all Japanese studios make Japan style games.
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, Kojima definitely is not making a Japanese style game, is he? When he makes those games, they're his own thing. But we want a lot of other creators out there. We don't want the same stuff. Everybody's like, screw them, let's go to the Westerns. And we want everybody, right? We have, because I was left out of the story, but the conversation, but that's fine. There's no big deal. But we have a Polish studio working on.
Were you
RoboCop.
left out of that conversation?
I was.
Oh my God! See, this is terrible.
But that's fine. I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. Don't worry about it. I'm bringing it back. So you have a Polish studio working on RoboCop, right? Mm-hmm. And what are they doing? They are not making a futuristic RoboCop set in today's standards. They're going back and doing the B-side movies. What we would consider B-side, but back then those were A-rated movies. You know what I mean? Those were top-notch movies. So accounting for inflation, I'd buy that for $2. So, and that's what we want. We want this stuff. We need this stuff. Okay. So yeah, some guys, all they want to do is play COD. All they want to do is play FIFA, or whatever it's going to be called now. Right. Or all they want to do is play Madden. Right. So when you have that type of mentality, right? And we still have people here in the chat. Oh, forget Sony. Sony doesn't need to be part of this. The E3 is Xbox. That's great, but guess what? That's not gaming. That's one.
Gaming is everybody.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole thing, and that's what we want. We want these other experiences because you never know what you're going to like. How many times have we talked about Game Pass and playing games that we never would have played because we never would have taken the time to buy them or even look at them because it's not my type of game. But because I can try it out, whatever. Holy cow, this is actually a fun game. Or this was one of those mindless, I'd like to call stupid fun games, but it's a mindless game that you can just sit there and enjoy yourself, not paying attention to anything, and doing all this stuff. That's what we want. We want to have the Japanese market, and they are very proficient at what they do, but there are also other Japanese studios that do more than just the typical Japanese thing. And that's the problem is, just like we have studios here that don't do the typical American thing because they're European. Everybody assumes that the Western is all US, but a lot of the game studios are European studios. Look at Ori. Yep. There was not one place that was made in, and they were all remote, and that's Ori. So if you think about it, they developed something from a cross of multinational, multi-regional, multi-background, everything, and they came together and made a beautiful game. And a lot of people are like, that's not my type of game, but guess what, it won a lot of people over, and that's what we want, but only on the Japanese side. We want the Asian market to have that effect on us too, and that's as gamers, because for a lot of us that were gaming before consoles, we were in the arcades, and a lot of those were Japanese games. People forget that. Pac-Man. That's not an American game. Mm-hmm. You got Streets of Rage. So we start naming all this stuff off. But a lot of this stuff was generated over there. So we got to bring that stuff over so we have access to it. And how are you going to do that without having consoles to say, right? Because how many times have studios said, well, you know what, I'm going to go with the bigger option, right?
Great point, dude.
The bigger base that I have an option. Granted, we've already said how many people have bought PlayStation 4s versus the Xbox Ones, right? The PlayStation 4 releases the God of War PlayStation. They release a Spider-Man PlayStation. They release this PlayStation. But you traded in every single one of those to get the next one, right? but it still counts. And those studios are looking at what is sold, all right? And that's sold not to the individual person. People forget about that. It's not to the individual person. It's to the companies that are selling to us. Because Sony and Microsoft and Xbox and Epic Games and all that, they have no idea other than the digital spot of where their games are going. But when it comes to the physical stuff, you know, look at Nintendo. They don't know where their games, or I'm sorry, where their consoles are being sold other than to the manufacturer, or the distributors.
Yeah.
Right? When those distributors purchase a lot of whatever the lot is, 20,000 whatever consoles, that's all they know. They sold 20,000 consoles. That's their demographic, right? So then we rely on other outside factors of looking at and saying, okay, well, GameStop has said we've sold this much, or Game in Europe has said I've sold this much, you know,
Right.
and then we have these other metrics where we try to figure this stuff out. But truly, their only concern is what they sell to the distributors. After that, it's none of their business. That's why a lot of them, everybody was like, I can't buy it because of all these bots. These bots are stealing it before we even get a chance, and then they're overpricing it, and we have no choice but to pay extra money if we want this or not, right?
Yeah.
And this is why we need to have better numbers. We need to know, especially when it comes to Game Pass, right? We need to know how much, who's playing on, or not who, but how many people are playing on Game Pass, on what console, without a console, or any of this stuff. You know, how many people are actually playing on a Series S, or how many people are actually playing on a Series X, right? We need those breakdowns. Be a little bit more transparent on that, because yet again, I understand it. Unfortunately, it's part of the console war where, you know, well, we can't have the Xbox One, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One X as numbers because they're all different consoles. And now where are we at now, right? We can't have the Xbox One X and Series X and the Series S because they're not the same console. It technically is the same generation, and that's what they're counting. But I would like that breakdown. I would like to know the difference between S's and X's, and depending on ones with OG, S, and X. It'd be nice to know the breakdown, a little bit more clarification when it comes to this. Either way, they're still going to call the whole group of a series as the number, and that's fine. But let's find out a little bit more, because I'd like to know how many people are actually playing on the Samsung.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure Microsoft has those.
They have those numbers. I'm just saying they need to
they
push
just
it
don't put
out.
them out publicly. Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. But if they do, you know who they do it to? They produce those numbers to those studios, to those companies. They actually do have access to that. That's why that one guy actually kind of slipped up what the Microsoft numbers were for Xboxes, and Phil had to like downplay it.
Yep.
But that, you know, that we all know that was a slip up, because he had some insight. Whether or not those numbers are accurate are different, because, you know, by the time he saw it, maybe the numbers are a little different. But that's the thing. You need that bigger base to be able to draw that attraction.
Yeah. No. You listen. Everyone had amazing points. Dreadpool, apologize for skipping you on the RoboCop one. I can't believe I missed you on that. But
No. I really want to piss people off now. So let's do this. RoboCop needs to have a third-person option. Okay.
Yeah,
I want the first
saw people
person,
actually asking for that. Yeah.
but I think they need a third-person option, because how else are we going to have some Fortnite dances?
Oh no! Don't do it, please. If Peter Weller starts dancing or doing a jig, I'm shutting off the game.
He's going to do that. But wouldn't it be cool to have like a Dead or Alive crossover? I mean, I know he was in Mortal Kombat 11, but still, wouldn't it be cool to see, you know, Dead or Alive? It's like, Dead or Alive, you're coming with me. It's like, but you're in the game.
Yeah,
you know,
that's funny. I like what you're putting down.
Maybe a Judge Dredd crossover, you know, where they keep the mask on or take the.
Maybe this team does a Judge a game next. They did Rambo. They did Terminator. They're doing RoboCop. I think the evolution is Judge Dredd for sure.
Yeah. Maybe listen, Cuphead.
Oh.
Okay, I'm done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We had almost 350 people here on a show that I thought was going to be very short because we didn't have guests. And now, as you can see, we have a ton of guests. So we got to get everyone out of here. And we're going to start first with our 2 guests. And we'll start, Mav, brother, sell your brand. Tell everyone where they can check out your absolutely incredible content over on Fun Speculation on YouTube. And where can they reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Boom. That's exactly where you can find me. Like you just said, Fun Speculation on YouTube, Twitter, Fun Speculation as well. Tonight we have Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 9 p.m.
o'clock,
Eastern
right? 9
time.
p.m.
Yep. And we'll have a blast over there. We talk a lot about Skull and Bones and some other stuff. I don't know. We kind of go into some random topics at times on that show.
That's good.
Always a good time and lots of fun. So check that out tonight. And then Mondays we'll be back with Fun Speculation Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, Thursdays is PM in the PM with Pong Soul and I at 7 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, guys, appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate this awesome panel as well. And to find out when I'm going live for game streams and more, follow on Twitter, Fun Speculation. Hit the notifications on there. Appreciate everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you, brother. Real quick, shout out to Lethal Papa, Boss Mod, Lethal Papa, keeping these streets safe as always. His work is tireless, and the reason why you can come into this chat on any of my shows and dealer shows and so many others is because his tenacity to keep the assholes away is unlike anyone else, and he does really walk quietly and carry a big stick. So I cannot thank him enough for the tireless work. Because everyone in here is a modder, but he specifically knows what to watch for. And for the most part, we have these chats are pretty damn cool. Even when they get testy with people, talking about one thing or another, it never gets out of control. And that's due to his ability to keep everyone, to keep everyone fair, so to speak. So big shout out to you, Lethal. Thank you for everything you do. Kay Asante, sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can check you out tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on your incredible YouTube channel. And, of course, your outstanding show with the slanderous one, Everborn Saga.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you guys for letting me jump in here. It's always fun to jump in. I'm usually in the chat or I'm listening in during calls and whatnot, but you brought up the RoboCop, and I had to come out here and
because obviously you had to tell us about your scars from your
I wear them with pride, man. I wear them with pride. Actually, you know what? This warrants another reviewing. I might watch RoboCop this weekend because you guys got me on point on this. But yes, thank you guys for letting me jump in real quick with an excellent panel. Mav, good to see you again, good sir. It's always fun keeping up with all of the great content creators on this panel and all the great work that they do, keeping us entertained throughout our work days and beyond. You can find me, K Asante, TKO Asante on Xbox, PlayStation, Twitter, wherever you want to communicate with me. We've been doing some community, playing games with people in the community. It's always so much fun. So if you see me online, holla at me. I'm always ready to game with you. We do GCP, the Gaming Circle podcast, every weekend. Now, this weekend, I'm not sure how it's going to go because I'm having some technical issues, but stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter. If there's any news to be had there, I'll post it up there as well. As I speak to you, I'm literally like putting computer pieces back together. So we shall see. But yes, if and when we do have the Gaming Circle podcast, expect that Everborn Saga will be talking about how much he loves the Steam Deck. Yes, the thing that he said was trash and that was never going to go anywhere.
He is now a stan.
He is a stan. He's on the other side. This is Elden Ring all over again. It's going to be awesim.
Oh my goodness!
Catch us on Twitter. You follow us, we'll follow you back. Yep. Usually Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Gaming Circle podcast. We appreciate you guys for being here, and y'all catch me again next time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, brother. Of course, let's bring in Crispy Bomb. Sell your brand, brother. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media, but more importantly, check you out on other shows.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Dreadpool, you are extremely messy, and I love it. The chat, awesome as usual. At Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28, Xbox Live. You can find me on Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. We have the next podcast, 8 p.m. Thursday, and of course, Primetime Gaming Wednesday, 8 p.m. And just prayers go out to everybody having something going on right now. Sir X, Lupa, even Dealer. COVID is no joke, and hope everybody gets well as soon as possible. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and of course, again, it's gaming is gaming, but real life is real life, and these folks are all fighting something really heavy, and like I said, reaching out to you'll be surprised how it makes someone feel that you reach out to them just to check on them. I mean, you may not know them in real life, but saying hello and best wishes goes a long way. Fuzzy Belvedere, sell your YouTube channel to these fine people still left in the chat. Tell them where they can subscribe. Check out your best information on anything racing, and more importantly, where people find you on other podcasts.
Just want to thank everyone that came out today, and thank you guys for having me on. And always fun being on here with Kay Asante and Mav. Actually, we'll be on later on tonight with Mav on Xbox Ultimate. So come check us out on Fun Speculations channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be on the Shop Podcast tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and on FSP Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then back here again Friday morning on Breakfast with Boom with you guys. But yeah, for anybody that wants to hear my takes on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere, or to check out my racing reviews and things like that, just go to YouTube and type in Fuzzy_Belvedere. Greatly appreciate everything, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. And Web Dave, you just did an interview that you dropped July 4th with Colt Eastwood, which he actually, I was listening to his show with Gaz, and he was talking about it, and he actually had some stories that he never told anyone, but he told you. And obviously, though, that was a really great interview. You've interviewed myself, Fuzzy, Dealer, I believe Dreadpool and Crispy. I don't know if he interviewed Mav as of yet, but your interview series is phenomenal. Please tell everyone where they can check out these great one-on-ones and more importantly, insight into your favorite podcaster.
I'd buy that for
I've interviewed Mav too. He was actually one of the first ones. He was, I think, right after you, to be honest with you.
Nice.
And Kay Asante. Yeah, very blessed to have all of you guys interviews, and Colt Eastwood was definitely a great one, and got a real interesting one for Monday. I was lucky enough to interview Fonz from Fonz.
Yeah, Fonz is a good dude.
Gaming. Yeah, he's good. He was great. And again, sorry for the audio difficulties today. Just last minute because of the power thing, I had to jump onto a different PC. But dude, thank you so much, Mav. Great seeing you, Crispy, Dread, everybody, Fuzzy, Boom. Thank you, man. Have a great show.
Thank you, brother. We definitely appreciate you being here, and we're glad that you didn't miss it because of the power situation. Dreadpool, tell everyone where they can check out Breaking Bread with Dread, and more importantly, what other shows are you on? And even more importantly than that, if they want to strike up a conversation, where can they reach out to you on the social medias?
All right, so as always, I'm going to thank the most important people, the most important guests. I got to toss up between Mav and Kay Asante. Which one? No, actually, this is the chat. The chat. You guys are the most important people here. Thank you guys for showing up. And now we're going to go to our guests. Mav, thanks for stopping by. And Kay Asante, even though he already dipped out, thank you both for coming in and chatting with us. Great points of views. And as always, just find me on YouTube at Dreadpool, all letters, all caps. Twitter's the O's are actually zeros.
Yep.
I have TikTok, the Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Spotify is hosted by Anchor.fm, and that's my Breaking Bread with Dread series. And I had, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I met up with Lord Cognito.
Oh, yes.
And unfortunately, that didn't go. So I missed out on that one. He was so busy, I could not pull him away. We ended up hanging out for like 2-3 hours. Could we have done it? Yeah, but there's no way that I'm going to sit there and be like, yo, we got to go do this. He was so busy. You got to see this man works. When he's not working, he's working. So much respect for him for letting me hang out while he was working and meet up with a whole bunch of cool people. And then I came back later on and I met, you guys saw it on Twitter. I posted some pictures. Then I met up later on with Back from the Dead. So that's the latest interview that we've had. So definitely check that out. And that was in the hotel restaurant. So that one there beats out the one that we had with Paul with the Hilton cardboard pizza. Oh my God. But definitely, like I said, oh yeah. But it was a great one because it was unexpected. Goldie was there. Oh, I'm sorry, not Goldie.
Oh,
Blondie. Blondie was there, which is Back from the Dead's wife. So I had both of them, and great food, great people, great conversation. It was cool to actually meet yet again more people from the community, and that's part of what this is, right? We
that's what
get
it's
to
all
meet,
about.
we get to see more stuff, right? Because even with what Webb Dave is doing, he's getting background stories. He's getting stuff that not very many people get anything out of from these interviews, and he's getting some of this stuff, and that's what I'm doing too. I'm getting some stuff that nobody else can get, so to get it out there, and yet again we're meeting people. So this is my version of E3 for now. That's all I can do.
No, listen, it's
You know
good
what I
stuff.
mean?
It's a
So
very
definitely.
it's a very unique thing that you do, and no one else is doing it, which is why it's original. If you have not checked out Breaking Bread with Red, you definitely should. It is not
Yeah.
your typical podcast, but it is good one-on-one information with two guys, or sometimes even a group of people just hanging out shooting the shit. So it's really good
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely. So yet again, awesome hanging out with everybody here in the panel: Crispy, Fuzzy, Dave, and Boom.
All right, I'll see you in August.
Perfect. I'll mark it down. And John Wolf, miss you, brother. But yeah, I do streaming too. So if anybody sees me streaming, my chats are open. Jump on in. Let's play some games. We've been playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We've been playing Halo. So yeah, just let's get the community involved. It's not a game night. It's just let's play and talk and have a good time.
Sounds
So
good, brother.
again,
Yes.
thank you guys. I appreciate everyone here.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate you being a part of today's podcast. Great to have you finally back. Definitely after taking a couple of weeks hiatus due to real life. Real life gets in the way, and such is life. But ladies and gentlemen, a big shout out to all the super chats that have come in. There was quite a few of them. We are, Mrs. Boomstick and I are incredibly grateful, and we are going to then return a lot of these super chats because not this week. The following Breakfast with Boom, we're giving away $400 worth of digital gifts, 8 $50 gift cards, and all you got to do to win is be in the chat live. We're going to announce 4 up front and 4 on the back half of the show. And if you are an international viewer, we will respect that. And if you obviously the codes can't transfer, which is fine, we will then, of course, send that money to you through a Cash App or through PayPal to make sure that you do get your $50 prize. And we will pay the transfer fee or the taxes or the denomination change from region from US dollars to wherever you are. It's something that we pride ourselves in doing because if you support this channel with your views, your super chats, and your membership, we want to make sure that you get supported as well. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that's important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So have a great weekend. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you own. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.